Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm John Ralston. As we're taping this, the state Senate is again, we think, considering passing that room tax hike. The Assembly's already passed it. Then it goes to Governor Gibbons for his signature. Governor Gibbons signing the third largest tax increase in history. I do love that. We're talking about all the state's taxing and spending problems with Erin Neff from Progress Now, Nevada, and Chuck Muth from Against Progress Ever, Nevada. Isn't it? I'm just kidding. The right and the left. But there is a serious question here, Mr. Muth, and you alluded to it, and so did Erin Neff, and that is taxing by initiative. Bob Coughlin, who some of the Republicans have had a lot of fun with because he basically said everything's on the table, actually said he's undecided about this room tax because he says taxing by initiative takes the decision-making away from lawmakers. Specifically, he said it takes away the ability of the legislature to act. It is harmful to the legislative process. As critical as I have been over the years of the legislature, I haven't given up on the actual process of government on which this nation was founded. Have you given up on it?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't necessarily disagree with Senator Coughlin on that. If this initiative does not pass in the Senate, that doesn't stop the legislature from putting the 3% room tax back in again when they get to the budget later, at which point the funds won't be earmarked. Now, I'm no legal expert, so I don't know what would happen if they add the 3% in, which takes Clark County up to the cap, and then the initiative goes on the ballot in 2010, and they're already at the cap. So what happens to the initiative? I mean, no one's even talked about that.
There is one legal opinion that exists that says if they try to put it in at the end as part of a tax package, then that actual tax package has to go on the ballot as a competing initiative, which may happen, which would be, of course, a nightmare. But what about the issue of the legislature, whether they decide not to pass any taxes, as you would support, or some kind of broader tax, as Erin Neff might support? Shouldn't the legislature be making these decisions?
Well, of course they should be. But you know, the state and the citizens of Nevada recognize that they didn't want just the legislature to have these decisions, that direct democracy through initiative was something that this...
As a last resort, though.
Well, I don't know that they qualified it that when they passed it, but I don't disagree with you, though. I think that these initiatives should go through the legislature first and get a hearing. Bob Beers wanted to put a spending restraint initiative through the legislature.
Who?
Former state senator Bob Beers.
Okay, go on.
One of the tax restraint initiative that he tried to get through the Senate. It never got a hearing or never got a vote, and so he went the initiative process after the fact. And I think that's probably a reasonable way of doing it. At least give the legislature an opportunity to do what they're supposed to do, and then after they punt the ball, then take matters in your own hands.
Well, as much as we've seen them punt for many, many sessions over a decade on this very issue, the most critical issue in the state, you have to give them the ball. Look at California. I mean, the legislature in California cannot operate. It cannot
80% of the budget's encumbered or so by initiatives, yeah.
They can do nothing. And so in California, you can't even raise revenue when you have to. The legislature doesn't even have the ball in California, which is what will happen here if we keep going this route.
You know, Erin Neff on her website, we're going to get to some of it, has articulated a clear philosophical position. You, I think, have a fairly clear philosophical position. What distresses me, I'd like you both to talk about this, is there's no philosophy being debated up there in Carson City in all the decades over this. It's let's go for this number, let's cobble together this tax with this tax. Do you have any hope that that's some kind of philosophical discussion? How much should we spend? How much should we raise? How are we going to raise it? Is going to take place up there?
No, unfortunately, no.
Why won't it?
There aren't any philosophical conservatives that I can identify. There are very few of them. There's a handful, but they're in the minority. Most of them are process people. They go up, they want to get a bill passed, any bill passed. It can be a meaningless
state insect?
bill. Like a state insect, exactly. But there aren't a whole lot of philosophical questions. And the question that you asked recently, John, in your column, and I think Patrick Cooligan had it in a Sun column yesterday, is the debate of what is the legitimate role of government. You know, what it constitutes an essential service. I don't ever hear that debate being held up there.
Why don't they want to have that debate real quickly?
Well, first of all, there's a reason that there's so few of your type people, because it's an unworkable ideology. But second, of all, I mean, we don't hear this. We don't hear this debate because it's hard. These are difficult decisions. By initiative, that legislature is stuck in a 120-day session.
The sad thing is that if there's any time that they should be having it, it's right now, but they're not. But guess what? We're going to have it right now on Face to Face. We're going to solve all the state's problems when we come back.
watching Face to Face with John Ralston, a program presented in partnership with the Las Vegas Sun, Cox Communications, and KLAS TV.